Do you understand your position? You have no one to rely on. Yet you act like this. You can't listen to what your husband's mother says. Just keep quiet about it to my son. Got it?
My mother-in-law's tone suddenly changed, and she began to shout. The argument started when my mother-in-law suggested joining us on our honeymoon. I never expected it to turn out like this. But with no other options, I faced the day of the trip. I had no idea that things would turn out unexpectedly from here on. My name is Julie, and I am 30 years old. I got married 2 months ago and now live with my husband and mother-in-law. I met my husband Tyson at work 4 years ago, and after 3 years of dating, I accepted his proposal. We went to his mother's house to introduce ourselves. I visited my in-laws with a light heart. But it was a mistake. My mother-in-law wrinkled her forehead at the sight of me and never showed me a smile, even though she always had a happy expression when talking to her son. With a heavy heart, Tyson said something as we were leaving.
I'm sorry, Julie. My mom is really shy around people.
Really? I thought maybe she didn't like me very much.
No way. When I brought a male friend over in the past, she was the same way. She's just being shy, I'm sure.
Oh, I see. Well, that's a relief. I thought she hated me for a second.
No. That can't be. Of course she likes you. You're someone I chose.
Okay, if you say so. After hearing his words about his mother's shyness being the reason for her behavior, I felt a little lighter, but I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't just that when I remembered the way his mother looked at me. After we registered our marriage the following month, something unexpected happened to us. Huh? What do you mean? I asked, and Tyson looked troubled.
Mom contacted me yesterday and said she hasn't been feeling well lately. If you were okay with it, would you be willing to live with her for a while?
Is your mom sick?
No, I don't think so. But she is stubborn, so she might be hiding.
I see. That's a worry.
Yeah, it is. But I don't want to force it. I want to respect your feelings.
Perhaps my husband will prioritize my feelings first. If I say I don't want to live with his mother, I want to live with just the two of us, he should make it happen. But is that really okay? It seems that my father-in-law passed away a few years ago, and my mother-in-law is living alone in their family home. I understand the feeling of losing someone important because I also lost my parents during my college years. Thinking back to those lonely and vulnerable days when I lived alone still brings tears to my eyes. My mother-in-law is probably feeling the same way now, on top of not feeling well. After several days of consideration, I decided to live with my mother-in-law. When I told my decision to Tyson, he was surprised but lowered his head and thanked me with tears in his eyes. And so, we started our marriage life living with my mother-in-law. However, this decision would come back to haunt me later. Regret quickly followed. Moving in with my in-laws meant that my husband's workplace farther away and my workplace was closer. As a result, my husband leaves the house early in the morning, and I can leave later, creating a couple of hours of alone time with my mother-in-law. I was eating breakfast alone after seeing my husband off when my mother-in-law came to the living room and gave me a disdainful look. What kind of nerve do you have? Eating breakfast before your mother-in-law? I'm sorry, but I need to get ready for work. I made breakfast. It's just toast and fried eggs. But would you like some? As soon as I said that, my mother-in-law's face turned red as she suddenly raised her voice.
You didn't give Tyson such a shoddy breakfast, did you?
What? Yes, I did.
Unbelievable. You really are a failure.
A failure? I couldn't believe what I was hearing from my mother-in-law. I never expected to be spoken to like that. Just one day into our cohabitation. From that day on, my mother-in-law's verbal abuse only escalated. She would take any opportunity to hurl hurtful words at me when Tyson wasn't around.
You can't even do housework properly. You useless daughter-in-law. I don't know why Tyson chose her. When her looks and styles are not that great. Tyson must be pitied for having such a useless wife. There are countless other things that come to mind. Moreover, she moves around the house briskly without showing any signs of poor health. However, when my husband is at home, she occasionally showed signs of feeling chest pain, even though she spits out abuse so vivaciously when she is with me. I thought about consulting my husband several times, but I was too scared to do so. Even after 3 months of marriage, my relationship with my mother-in-law remains the same. Lately, I'm often threatened like this. You better not go telling Tyson anything unnecessary.
I don't have any intention of doing that.
You'll be the one to regret it. If you leave this house, you won't have anywhere to go, without any relatives.
Using the fact that I have no one to rely on, my mother-in-law is cornering me day by day. In the midst of such difficult days, one day, my husband and I suddenly decided to go on a honeymoon. Originally, it was planned immediately after the marriage, but we had decided not to until our work calmed down. Recently, the big project that my husband had been dealing with had been completed, so we decided to go on a trip at this timing. The destination was Mexico, which we had decided on beforehand.
Oh! Finally, you were going on your honeymoon, huh?
Yes, our work has settled down now.
That's good. What kind of place is the hotel, Julie? Oh, it looks lovely.
Well, it's a bit over budget, but it's a highly rated hotel, so we decided to go for it. Like this, my mother-in-law naturally talks to me in front of my husband. It is so natural that my husband wouldn't even think that we were in bad terms. One day, a few weeks before our honeymoon, my mother-in-law dropped the bombshell.
Julie, I just want to let you know, I'll be joining you on your honeymoon.
What? What are you talking about?
Oh, but keep it secret from Tyson. I want it to be a surprise.
Wait a minute. This is our honeymoon. It's kind of weird for you to come with us, don't you think? Before I could finish my sentence, my mother-in-law gave me a cold glare. Her icy stare made me shiver, and I couldn't say anything else.
Do you understand your position? You have no one to rely on anyway.
But this is just too...
Shut up. If you say anything else, I'll kick you out of this house. Just keep quiet from my son, okay?
Unable to argue back, we ended up going on our honeymoon with my mother-in-law. On the day, we left the house with her seeing off and headed to the airport. A few hours after we arrived, my mother-in-law sent a message asking where we were. I reluctantly told her where we were, and 20 minutes later, a taxi pulled up in front of us, and as she got out of the car, she hugged my husband with a smile.
Hey there! Did I surprise you? Huh, Mom? What are you doing here? I came to surprise you, Tyson. Julie invited me on this trip, and I thought it would be fun to come along. Hold on a second. What are you thinking, Mom? But Julie really wanted me to come, and she'll pay for everything.
My husband looks at me, and asks if it's true. Under the watchful eye of my mother-in-law, I can only nod silently. Seeing this, my mother-in-law smiles and speaks again, satisfied. Let's meet at the resort we booked at 1 p.m. See ya! After saying that, my mother-in-law hailed a taxi and went somewhere. The atmosphere suddenly became tense, and the cheerful mood we had earlier disappears. My husband remained silent, looking down and lost in thought. Tyson,
Julie, what is all this? I can't believe you invited Mom on our honeymoon, even though you were a sweet person. Is there something else going on? Well, please tell me the truth. If you are struggling with something, I want to know.
Tyson, I'm torn between whether to tell him or not. If my mother-in-law finds out that I spoke out, it could end badly. As my mother-in-law said, I have nowhere to turn to. If I get kicked out of the house, it would be the worst outcome. My emotions are turmoil, and my thoughts are a jumbled mess. Tears start well up in my eyes, and my husband gently hugs me and says in a voice that sounds like he's about to cry,
Julie, don't suffer alone. If something happens, I'll definitely help you. Tell me everything. I won't abandon you.
As all the pain I had felt until now overflowed, tears unconsciously fell from my eyes. My husband continued to gently pat my back, as if trying to soothe me. Once I had cried for a while and calmed down, I told him about the conflict I had with my mother-in-law until now. My husband's face turned bright red, and he trembled with anger.
That can't be true. That my mother did such a thing to you, Julie.
I didn't plan on telling you either, but I never expected her to come along on our honeymoon.
And she was trying to make you pay for the entire trip? She's unbelievable. Did you give her the money for the flight in advance too?
Yes, and she demanded $1,000 for the optional tour for herself.
What? Seriously?
In front of my surprised husband, I could only bow my head in embarrassment. Then he seemed to come up with something and smiled at me.
Julie, I have a good idea.
Huh? The plan he revealed to me was amazing. It may be small as revenge, but it would certainly trouble my mother-in-law. When I agreed to the plan, my husband immediately called our lodging.
Hello? We're scheduled for stay for 5 days starting today. Yes. We'd like to change the name of the reservation, please. Please keep the same price. Thank you.
After the conversation, my husband looked at me and said,
You finally smiled, Julie.
A few hours later, when I arrived at the resort facility, my mother-in-law was already there.
Tyson, I'm fine with staying in the same room as you guys.
My husband smiles and tells her,
I've arranged a special room for you, Mom. If you give your name, they'll show you to your room.
Oh my! You went through all that trouble? I feel bad.
It's okay. You have been taking care of Julie in various ways anyway.
It's okay. After all, Julie is my lovely daughter.
Let's check in for now. You must be tired from sightseeing, Mom.
Tyson gives his mother's name, and she leans forward to ask the receptionist,
Hey, is the suite room available?
We have only one available room today.
Then change it to the suite room.
Understood.
Is that okay?
She grins and looks at me, but I just smile back at her. We then head to the suite room we were shown to. As soon as we arrive, my mother-in-law dives into the bed and acts like a child. Well then, we're going to go now.
Huh? What are you talking about? The three of us are staying in the same room, right?
No, we're not. Tyson and I will be staying in a different room.
What?
My mother-in-law looked stunned and freezed in place. My husband threw a sharp remark at her.
You are going to pay for your own lodgings here. Got it? Wait a minute. What's going on? Tyson, how could you say that to your mother? What gives you the right to say that? You've been saying terrible things and making Julie suffer all this time. I would never do such a thing. Julie and I get along just fine every day. Don't be ridiculous. I heard everything from Judy. You've been bullying her and threatening her not to tell anyone. I'll never forgive you. Wait! Please don't say that to your mother.
My mother-in-law turned bright red and began to confront my husband. However, Tyson brushed off her arm and pulled me closer to him. When my mother-in-law saw this, she glared at me sharply and shouted,
It's all your fault!
If this had happened a little while ago, I would have been terrified and apologized profusely. But now, I have my husband beside me. So I took a deep breath, looked my mother-in-law straight in the eye, and said everything that had been bottled up inside me.
My fault? You're just trying to say it's my fault that your son hates you, aren't you? Don't be ridiculous. You brought this on yourself by doing stupid things and tormenting me. You know that everything you did has come back to haunt you, don't you? Shut up. Shut up! If you hadn't come to this house, you were just afraid of losing your son. That's all. You made my life a living hell for such a stupid reason. But I won't be a pushover for you anymore. I'm not even afraid of you anymore. After my retort, my mother-in-law trembled and tried to grab me. However, my husband stopped her and called the police. Soon, my husband and I left the place, leaving my mother-in-law behind, and moved to another hotel that my husband had reserved for us. We returned home from Mexico earlier than planned and immediately signed a lease for an apartment. Meanwhile, my mother-in-law enjoyed her stay in Mexico. When she checked out, she reluctantly paid with her card for the suite room, but her account was left empty. She was shocked by the exorbitant accommodation charges. When she returned home, the house was already empty. We received multiple phone calls from my mother-in-law, but we ignored them all. Since then, we haven't seen her. She doesn't know where we moved, so we won't be meeting her again. Now that she only has her pension to rely on, she'll have to deal with a lifestyle that's a far cry from what she was used to.
Tyson, thank you for believing me at that time.
What are you talking about? Of course I believe you. You're my family.
Yeah, you're right. Please always do for the rest of my life.
Likewise.
I can overcome any obstacle with this person by my side. I am reminded once again of my beloved husband, and we smile at each other.
What? You recorded? You coward. Is it about money? Is money really that important to you? I'll pay you back that measly amount of money right now.
My mother-in-law shook off her son and took out $10,000 from the dresser, throwing it at me.
Just let me use the money however I want. I can't go gambling now that you're staying at home all day. I was overwhelmed by her force, but my sister-in-law managed to subdue her.
I'm sorry for doubting you, Paula. Let me take responsibility for this mess myself. My name is Paula. I met my husband Titus when we were both in college. I remember him coming up to me and saying he had fallen in love at first sight. I had also fallen for him at first sight, but I was too embarrassed to say so and kept my feelings to myself. I was drawn to his ability to express his emotions so openly, as I tended to hold back in social situations. So when he proposed to me, I was overjoyed and said yes on the spot. Now, our life as a married couple is very happy. But there is one thing that troubles me: my mother-in-law. My husband hardly ever goes back to his parents' house since his father passed away, so we only see her a few times a year. But 2 weeks ago, she got injured and is now temporarily living with us.
Paula, I'm sorry for causing you trouble.
At first, I thought she was a calm person, but problems arose shortly after we started living together.
Paula, I need to talk to you.
When I came home that day, my mother-in-law had a serious expression on her face.
What's wrong? Are you okay?
Well, my mother-in-law told me that she had debts and caught up in a scam.
Oh, I think you should talk to Titus about it. No, that's absolutely not allowed.
Why not?
Actually,
according to my mother-in-law, she was scammed in the past, and at that time, she was blamed by her husband and son. Can I ask what the contents of the scam were?
Oh, well, a person claiming to be my son called and said that he had hit a luxury car with his bicycle and was being asked for money. But at that time, I couldn't bother my husband and thought it would be easier to settle it with money if possible.
I see. But how old was Titus at that time?
I think he was in high school.
Wait, she mistook her own son whom she sees every day?
I was so frustrated at that time, not just about Titus, but also about my husband's work. I couldn't just stand there and do nothing. Besides, if this incident also caused trouble for Titus, I still can't say anything.
Was Titus's name brought up again this time?
Sort of. He didn't claim to be Titus, but he said he was being charged with adultery and was being asked for compensation. That's why I couldn't tell you at the time.
My husband wouldn't cheat. That's impossible. I trust him. There's no way he could do something like that unless he was serious about someone else. And he would definitely tell me everything without hiding anything. Did you borrow that money by taking out a loan?
Yes, but I'm not working. So borrowing $30,000 was the most I could do.
I felt a chill down my spine hearing that. Where did you borrow the money from?
Could it be from a loan shark? That's a bigger problem than being scammed.
I think we should tell Titus right away. The reason I'm so worried is that my husband is a police officer. If he finds out that a family member got involved with a loan shark, Titus's career could be ruined.
Don't worry, I'm not that stupid. I just borrowed from a friend, so it's okay.
Oh, I see. So, the reason you were telling me about this?
Well, I was wondering if you could lend me some money. You see, I'll receive my pension in a month, so I can pay you back then. Please, keep this from Titus. I promise to pay you back.
I couldn't refuse my trembling mother-in-law. I would never fall for such a scam, but there are many people like my mother-in-law who have been victimized. They are the kind of people who are honest and always think of helping others first. And my mother-in-law is probably one of those kind-hearted people too. I understand. Then, let's return everything at once. I want to tell Titus about this. But please, be careful from now on. If you receive another call like that, please contact me first.
Thank you so much, Paula. But for this payment, $10,000 is enough, you know? Because if we suddenly pay the full amount, She might think that I had the money all along. I want to handle this properly, since we will continue to have a relationship with her. Oh, is that so? So, could you lend me $10,000 for now? Oh, okay. I thought I didn't really understand what my mother-in-law was trying to say, but as long as her debt was paid off, there wouldn't be any problem. At that time, I considered my mother-in-law's feelings and couldn't tell my husband about it. A while after this secret conversation, I became a full-time teleworker. But this change in my daily life revealed my mother-in-law's true nature. Paula, are you off work today? No, I'm working from home starting today. Is that so? Don't worry. I will work in my room and prepare my own lunch. Please use your time as usual. Really? Thank you. Although I tried my best, my mother-in-law's face was still cloudy. It was understandable, since I was going to be at home all day, which was a change from my mother-in-law's usual routine. However, I was too busy to leave my room except for using the bathroom and eating lunch. I thought that my mother-in-law would eventually get used to this situation. During my lunch break, I went downstairs to go to the nearby deli. Do you need anything from the deli? Hi, Paula. Long time no see. My sister-in-law Jenna was in the living room and I opened the door to greet her. Hi, Jenna. How have you been? I'm going to the deli. Do you want me to get you something? No, thanks. Okay. Mother, do you want anything? Oh, then can you please get me some coffee? Sure, I got it. I met my sister-in-law for the first time in several months. It's wonderful to see how close they are as a family. However, since then, my sister-in-law has been visiting her parents-in-law's house most every day. If she can come and check on her mother-in-law every day, isn't it necessary for us to live together, even if it's for a limited time? I'm beginning to wonder if there is any meaning to our cohabitation. Hey, Titus, about your sister? That day, I told my husband about Jenna. Huh? She comes here every day? Yeah, she sure does. Then, what's the point of us living together? You think so too, right? Yeah, I mean, Mom is surprisingly energetic. Yeah. And besides, it seems like she can't relax since I started remote working. It's not like anything bad is happening, but I feel bad making her worry about me staying all day. So I've been going to the deli to buy lunch every time. And I even asked them if they want anything. Paula, are you getting paid for that? Huh? No, I'm not. I never asked. Well, we should charge them for it. Your mother is paying off debt. I can't accept money from her like that. When I fell silent, my husband headed to his mother's room. Mom! What? Don't startle me like that. Don't take advantage of Paula. What are you talking about? I shook my head vigorously behind my husband towards my mother-in-law. If you want us to do the shopping, please pay us properly. No, Titus, it's me. I went to the deli without asking. Doing things like that without proper communication is not good. Let's establish clear boundaries for these things. Mom, do you understand? Yes. Also, I heard that Jenna comes here every day. Titus continued. It felt like I'm tattling on my husband. But please think about how it affects me to see her every day. Even though I love my husband's straightforwardness. If Jenna can come here every day, then what's the point of us living here? She just come by to check on me, but always leave quickly. You're lying. I can hear that conversation through the wall. Anyway, if Jenna can make time to visit so often, we need to sit down and talk. How about this weekend? The next day,
As I was about to take off to grab some lunch, my sister-in-law stopped me. Paula, I have something to tell you. Yes? You buy lunch at the deli every day, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
That's unfair, isn't it?
Hey, Jenna, stop it.
Mom, you can't say it, so I'll say it. Paula, that money belongs to my mother, doesn't it? You're unbelievable.
Excuse me?
I was hit with words I never imagined from my sister-in-law.
Is this money my mother-in-law's?
What is she saying?
All the money I used to buy lunch is from my own earnings.
What are you saying? Paula, you've been cooped up in your room all day, doing nothing, right?
Huh? That's not true.
I'm actually a full-time employee, you know?
My job can be done with just a computer. So I became a remote worker.
Wait a sec. Let me bring my laptop.
Here. This is how I work.
I'm just currently on lunch break, and I do work every day, you know? My sister-in-law stares at the laptop screen. Mom, what's going on?
No, that's what I wanted to ask. Enough already. Paula, don't drag my daughter into your lies.
Huh?
I'll tell you straight today. You've reached your limit. Get out of this house right now. I'll forget the money I lent you. You won't be able to pay it back anyway, will you?
Huh?
But I am the one who lent you the money.
Wait, what's going on? Paula, you got scammed, right?
Oh, I see.
That's when I realized that I had been deceived by my mother-in-law.
Okay, I understand. I will leave. I'll be out by the weekend. Anyway, my lunch break is over, so I'll excuse myself now.
After that, I left without seeing my mother-in-law, or rather, she seemed awkward and avoided me. I only told my husband that we were moving. He was curious about what happened, but he understood when I said I would tell him everything after it was all over. On the day of the move, my sister-in-law appeared. Paula, I'm just worried. Did I do something disrespectful to you?
What? What's going on? You're on this too, Jenna? Tell me what's going on.
Well, never mind. We finished packing, so it doesn't matter anymore. I told them both the truth calmly. What? I heard the same thing from my mom. But Paula, you were the victim in her story.
I heard that she was scammed twice, but she asked me to keep it secret from you, Titus.
How much money did you give my mother?
I gave her $10,000. And I was planning to give her the remaining $20,000 next month.
What? Oh no. Could she be...
My sister-in-law rushed to my mother-in-law's room.
Are you still gambling, Mom?
What? Why are you suddenly asking me that? I'm not gambling.
Then what about the story that you lent money to Paula? You said it yourself, Mom.
Did I say that? I've been forgetting things a lot lately, you know? Maybe I should go to the hospital.
Jenna and my husband are giving their mother cold looks.
You borrowed money from me, remember? Did I? I don't remember. I really think I'm sick. You know what they say? Multiple personality disorder. It was on TV the other day.
I see.
Well, maybe if you listen to this, you'll remember.
I took out my cell phone.
What's that?
Mother, our conversation from that time is recorded on this. $10,000 is a lot of money, so I recorded it just in case. I'll play it for you now, so please listen carefully. Before I could finish my sentence, my mother-in-law jumped up and lunged for my phone. But my husband restrained her before she could reach it. As expected of a police officer, his movements were quick.
How dare you record me? You coward! Is it about money? Is money really that important? Here, take this damn money!
My mother-in-law shook off her son and took out $10,000 from the dresser, throwing it at me.
I can't go gambling now that you're staying at home all day.
I was overwhelmed by her force, but my sister-in-law managed to subdue her. I'm sorry for doubting you, Paula. Let me take responsibility for this mess myself. Before I could answer, my sister-in-law took action. You idiot! You went and wasted the money you borrowed from someone. What? Where did my sweet sister-in-law go? I looked at my husband in surprise. He said,
Well, in my family, Dad and that sister of mine were rulers.
No, that doesn't make any sense too. Pick up the money and return it to Paula in person. You idiot. Trembling, my mother-in-law collected the scattered bills as my sister-in-law urged her on. Here, please take these, Paula. All $10,000 have been collected. Please accept my deepest apology, Paula. I'm sorry. I will make sure to educate her properly so that this does not happen again in the future. After that, my husband and I never met my mother-in-law again. Sometimes my sister-in-law would update me on her current situation. My mother-in-law began working a part-time job due to my sister-in-law's strict education. My sister-in-law's family had moved in with my mother-in-law, and they were still keeping an eye on things.
Is your sister some kind of gang boss or something?
Once things had settled down, I asked my husband.
No, she's not.
But her imposing manner made me think she was.
That was just her way of setting things straight with you.
Oh, I see. But I'm glad that Jenna's misunderstanding of me has been cleared up.
She hates dishonesty, you know. Actually, she wanted to become a police officer like Dad and me. But she had an accident when she was young, and her eye was injured. That's why she couldn't become a police officer.
I see.
But now, she has found fulfillment in getting back Mom on the right track. By the way, Paula, you've learned your lesson this time, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
We shouldn't keep secrets from each other as a couple, right? If you had told me about this, things wouldn't have ended up like this.
Yes, I know what you mean, huh?
But you were smart. You recorded the conversation.
Oh, about that? Actually, I didn't.
Huh. So luck was on your side, huh? By the way, Jenna's crackdown was super entertaining.
Yeah, right? I wish I had recorded it. We laughed while remembering the events of that day. If we learned something from this horrible experience, it is not to keep secret from each other. I have promised myself that from now on, I will consult my husband about everything.